Om Apyayantu mamangani Vākprānaśchakṣuśrotramatho balamindriyāni ca sarvāni sarvam brahma upanishadam aham brahma nirakuryam mama brahma nirakarot anirakaranamastva nirakaranam me astu Padatmani nirateya upanishatsu dharmaha te mayi santu om shanti shanti shanti. This is the 29th class on Chāndogya Upanishad, and in all these classes we have been reciting the Shanti mantra, Apyayantu mamangani. This Shanti mantra, which is generally the peace invocation for all the Upanishads of Samvāda, like Kena Upanishad, connects so well with the section we are going to deliberate on in this session. After talking about the glory of Vijnanam, right understanding of Shastra, which alone can enable Dhyanam, meditation. Balam means strength. I was saying, Sri Krishna also says, Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam. In the Gita, he says, I am strength of those who are free from selfish desire and selfish attachments. Balam is reflected in the Shanti mantra, Apyayantu mamangani, may my limbs be strong, may grow well. Apyayantu. Some of you may know the adjectival word in Sanskrit, pina. Pina means well grown. Sometimes pina can also mean something that is swollen. A convex mirror is regarded as pina, whereas a concave mirror is nimna, with a dip. One is swollen, another is with a dip. Pina, incidentally, is the Visheshana, what we call past passive participle, Kridanta, ta pratyaya of Apyayantu. Someone doesn't eat well, so lean, and everybody is afraid that maybe with a strong blowing wind he will be blown away. Then he eats, he does some exercises, he recovers his strength, he is well built. Then we say, this aspiration, Apyayantu mamangani, is fulfilled. May my limbs grow. Vāk, prānaha, chakshuhu, shrotram, atha balam, indriyani. The word balam comes in this Shanti mantra. Vāk, prānas, chakshu, shrotram, atho balam, indriyani, sarvāni. And moreover, many of you, if not all of you, have surely heard one of the very famous statements of Swami Vivekananda. Strength is life, weakness is death, he said. I wonder whether he drew his inspiration from this particular khanda, Ashtamaha Khandaha of Saptamaha Adhyaya, 7th chapter of Chāndogya Upanishad. Those who may do a hasty reading of the Upanishad may imagine that something is jerky here. after going to meditation, dhyanam, vijnanam, right understanding of scriptures and so on, why is he coming down to what seems to be physical strength? Because after this, if you see, annam is written, food, then apaha is given. So among the 15 factors that are recommended for upasana, this balam, as we see it superficially, doesn't seem to be some atma bala or some advanced bala. It seems to be physical strength. So we say, do not jump to a conclusion. The rishis had their own paradigm. It is said that Western education, with due respect, has made some of the Eastern paradigms look inappropriate or not scientific, not rigorous, etc. Now, even the Indian government has introduced in its NEP, New Education Policy, a major area for all students, no matter what their specialization is, for all students to study, and that is called IKS. Many universities are holding workshops, seminars, and other programs on IKS. A professor of IIM Bangalore, a professor in Chāndogya University in Bangalore, another junior assistant professor in Chinmaya Vishwavidyapit in Cochin. They have even brought out a book, Indian Knowledge Systems, Concepts and Applications, and so on. And when we read that kind of book, we realize that there is quite a lot of truth, that because of years of Mughal rule and then 200 years of British rule, and then again many decades of independent India, where we did not really consciously promote Indian uh, subjects, where Indians, rishis, munis, and so many great thinkers, not just in last 1000 or 2000, probably in the last 5000 years, probably in the last 10,000 years, if not more, so many rishis had contributed to a wide range of subjects. If anybody wants to read, I strongly recommend that book, Indian Knowledge Systems, Concepts and Applications, by Professor B. Mahadevan of Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore, along with two other professors, as I already mentioned. Professor Mahadevan actually took 3 years off from IIMB to be the first Vice Chancellor of Chinmaya University in Cochin and Pune. But he has now returned to his mother institution, Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. The olden days, the three IIMs that were very famous were called ABC. Ahmedabad, IIM A, Bangalore, IIM B, and Kolkata, IIM C. Now I guess there are some 15 or 20 IIMs in the country. So I recommend you read it. I am also presently going through it, little by little. Very well written book, gives an exposure, and one of the statements right in the introduction that the authors make is, there is a certain paradigm, certain terminology, certain way of organizing ideas, concepts, etc. in Indian tradition, in Eastern tradition, maybe even in Chinese or other traditions in the East, China and Japan and Indonesia or Thailand. So many countries in the East have had their own knowledge in medicine, in health, in keeping fit, in agriculture, in metallurgy, in numerous subjects, number of subjects, astronomy, astrology, mathematics, physics, and so on. So the East had developed And the East had, it's not philosophy, not spiritual only. They had actually shown results. They had actually, in metallurgy, for example, they had created certain alloys. To quickly mention, even today, everybody marvels at the iron pillar near Qutub Minar in New Delhi that was made by Indians some centuries ago. It doesn't rust, it is in good shape. Everybody goes there and marvels at that iron pillar. So there are numerous. And one statement Professor Mahadevan and his two co-authors write is India had its own paradigm, a frame of reference, and its own way of looking at words. So we need to be careful. We should not evaluate, assess, judge, come to conclusion about an Indian concept in a hurried way, influenced and conditioned by Western thinking. West has its own paradigm, we respect it. East has its own paradigm. Languages have their own paradigms. Somebody who is good in English has no business to look down at any Indian language. He must spend years and years studying and enjoying the literature of that Indian language. Then he or she realizes that there is so much beauty in each of the major languages of India. So coming back, don't think that this balam is to be restricted to physical strength, though the main expression referred to here is physical. Annam is the next factor. Unless one takes right annam, how will one have balam? But that doesn't mean it's only body mass or some kind of ability to lift things and so on. Eastern wisdom especially treats various topics always in an interconnected manner. There are many things, and in one sense they are separate, in another sense they are always interconnected. All right, after these introductory words, let's go to the title slide. We just have 3 slides in this presentation. The very first slide is the title slide, which, like on 7 earlier occasions, advises us to do upasana, and we have taken the liberty to say, adore strength, have value for strength, have necessary respect for strength. You may be a great intellectual, but for heaven's sake, do not just to be reading, writing, talking, thinking. With all due respect to your intellectual abilities, we advise you, adore strength, build your body, keep yourself fit. Nowadays, people live very unhealthy ways. There is no order in daily life. They stay late working on some computer or watching TV. They get up very late. They eat erratically. They mess up their health. And for them to regain health again, it is so many medicines. And with due respect to allopathy, which has wonders, so we do respect, it also is notorious for so many side effects and so on. Last week, a lady in Bangalore gave me, I'm carrying it in my bag now, certain capsules. I said, what are in these capsules? She said, Swamiji, take for a week and see whether it will give you some benefits. I said, but tell me what is in these capsules? She says, fine ground charcoal. Charcoal, and she herself is a professor of chemistry, retired, now lives in a senior home. So she has been testing it out, trying it out, and given to people. She says, she claims The charcoal powder is put into capsules. You take, especially for stomach disorders. She says it will do wonders. And when I was leaving her place, that senior center near Bangalore airport, she came running to my car and gave me one more. She has even produced a soap made of charcoal powder. So she seems to be, even as you and I are discussing Balam Upaswa, she seems to be doing Upasana of charcoal. I will not tell her name. You may be watching my program now because last Friday I did the program from that senior center and she was sitting right in front of me. Now she might be watching. If she is, I'm happy about it. But I am in good humor, I'm saying. If we give her the chance, add one khanda section, she will say charcoal upaswa. Charcoal powder. Anyway, why did I say this? The Indian wisdom is not about taking curative medicine. A whole lot are preventive medicine, ways of living. Just yesterday, a little video has come to me. I'm yet to watch, but I'm going to watch it. B.M. Hegde, both popular and controversial. He has spoken strongly on why everybody should walk in the morning walk. Everybody knows how true it is. Daily morning walk probably can save us a lot of medical bills. But foolishly, we prefer to pay bills and not go for morning walks. Anyway, if I talk like this and Indian knowledge systems, I have a habit. If I'm reading some book, all that will come in the lectures. So I'll restrain myself. Balam upasva. Gain strength. Let me quote one last time. Vivekananda. Strength is life. Weakness is death. And Balam upasva. Meditate on Bala. Develop a great awareness for how important physical strength, mental strength, emotional strength, strength of many kinds, even in group working. Sometimes to say something in the right way at the right time, you know, addressing the right person among the group requires certain strength. Sometimes you and I are hesitant. I'll tell her after the meeting. Then after the meeting, I'll tell her tomorrow. By then things can get worse. Which doesn't mean you should hurry up. Neither hurrying up nor delaying unduly. And there's an art of expressing a difference. Everybody says something and you are a minority in there's a meeting of 12 people. In order to just raise hand, may I say something? And say your view which is different and caution them. And knowing where you stand, where they stand. You could be a new member, all of them are seniors. Or you could be the boss, you could be president, you could be the secretary, you could be, everything could be in your hands. But all of them are giving a different idea. In 100 ways, there is no denying one requires balam, strength. So let's go further. What the Upanishad in the first mantra says about balam. And over here, we will also see the definition. Before giving the definition as given by Adi Shankaracharya, we read the mantra quickly. Balam vava vijnanat bhūyaha. Balam being a neuter word, bhūyaha. If it were masculine, bhuyan. If it were feminine word, bhūyasi. I won't go more into grammar, nor do I know too much grammar. A little more than most of you maybe. Balam vava vijnanat bhūyaha. You wonder why strength is given so much of importance. Apiha shatam vijnanavatam eko balavan akampayate. There may be 100 people who have read the scriptures, who have understood the scriptures. But as I said a while ago, if they suffer from some complexes, if they suffer from physical weakness, if they suffer from some problem in the throat, or their eyesight is poor, they have a back pain, never underestimate the importance of physical well-being. Physical well-being has to go hand in hand with mental and other forms of well-being. There goes the saying or the expression in the West, does it not? A sound mind in a sound body. So this intellectualism many a time has done more harm than good to the societies. And today there is a certain view that everybody should have freedom of expression and so on. Well said, freedom of expression is something good. But a lot of intellectuals who don't live rightly, who don't have order in their daily life, but they are gifted with language, they have read a lot of books, they have staying up to 3 a.m. and some other day 2 a.m. or even whole night. They have read, they may be experts in this law and that constitution of the country and oh, but some of them, I'm not criticizing all, sorry to say, some of the intellectuals are actually perverted. Perverted. They use all their intellectual abilities not to construct something, not to build something, not to bring peace to humanity, but to destabilize, disturb, and play some vicious political games too, or they are used sometimes by politicians, right? Against that, we have to see in spiritual literature, balam is not just physical balam, it is certain freedom from various complexes, certain clarity, certain moral strength, whereby 100 intellectuals who might quote easily without looking at the book, they might quote from the great scriptures. 100 of them stand before. But this person who may not have read so much, who may not have scriptural statements at his or her fingertips, will be able to shake them out. Because there is some strength. That's how Vivekananda did wonder in Parliament of Religions in 1893. It was not that he went there and quoted from some unknown books. If you see his first 5-minute speech, it is pretty simple speech. But there was some balam in him. The whole hall in the Art Institute today in downtown Chicago, the hall in the Art Institute where there were scholars of Eastern scriptures, of Bible, of Quran, of the Torah and many other. The hall was filled with a lot of very, very learned people and common people. All of them listened to him. Vivekananda, actually, the Upanishad mantra says, 100 Vijnanavatam akampayate. Vivekananda shook that day a few thousands, I guess. And day after day, they wanted to hear him because he had balam. Of course, I do understand. I go back and forth between physical balam and its larger sense. That's a typical Eastern approach. We always have certain flexibility with words. Sayada bali bhavati. Rest of it is a wonderful illustration or elaboration. Ata utthata bhavati. I would once more quickly say it's not just about physically standing up. You and I sometimes see there are times when we don't feel like getting up, going from one corner of the room to another, to refer to something or to pick up a pencil. We keep quiet. No bala. Another day, even if it is night, 1 a.m., we are ready to even go walk some distance, maybe to a library which is open 24 hours, refer to something and come back. I'm giving an intellectual setting in any other matter also. I remember when I was in 10th grade, they talked about somebody who was in 12th grade in our town. He stood first in the state of Karnataka in that exam. About him it was said, Namadev, his name. Who told us? His chemistry teacher in 12th grade. This Namadev who brought glory to our small town, you know what he did one day before the chemistry examination? So he said, what? He came to my house at 1 a.m., it seems. Namdev Prabhu. He went to the chemistry teacher Aital's house 1 a.m. and knocked at the door. Aital was sleeping. Got up and what brought you here at 1 a.m.? Namdev said, sorry sir, sorry to disturb you at this time, but this page I am not understanding. Tomorrow morning is chemistry exam. And Aital loved it. He said, come, sit down and explain. Next day Namdev wrote, and those days, whoever was in the first 10 ranks in any state, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, anywhere, there was some special quota in IIT Madras for doing BTech. Namdev Prabhu was directly admitted to IIT Madras after that because he stood first in whole of Karnataka. We were some three years junior to him. Anyway, I will not go too much on this. Balam. That is, Yada Bali Bhavati, Tada Utthata Bhavati. Namdev got up because there was a certain energy is falling in place. And he did not want to postpone even till next morning. Of course, he enjoyed a rapport with Mr. Aital, the chemistry professor. So he was confident that Aital sir will not misunderstand me. He just walked for those days, he walked some 1 or 2 miles from his home to Aital's house, got his dove. Uttata means that kind of being ready, available to solve problems, to take action without delay. Uttishtan, coming to scriptural context. Shravana Manana of Adhyatma-vidyā context. Leave chemistry and physics behind. The boy or girl who is thus up and active, Uttata, Uttishtan, or if it's feminine, Uttishtanti, she goes and serves competent teachers. She goes and attends more and more sessions. Upasidan drashta bhavati. Then she is able to see certain truths that the teachers say. She listens more. Shrota bhavati. She does mantana or manana. Manana is more appropriate. Manta bhavati. Bodha bhavati. She understands. And here it's not only Moksha Shastra, though you and I are studying Moksha Shastra more, Dharma Shastra also. She understands, she and or he. Bodha, that means bodhati. Karta bhavati, then she lives dharma. Her life gets transformed. Karta bhavati. You know what is karta bhavati? She lives what she understands. All because there is a certain energy which has come to right places. Otherwise, our energies are scattered. Why do we postpone? Why do we hesitate? Why do we have fear? Or why do we sometimes go so aggressive? That's also another problem. In a meeting, as though all of them are good for nothing, suppose one of us shouts at them or does some drama, throws some tantrums, and goes to extreme thinking. All of you should agree. If you don't agree, I'm resigning. I'm going to Himalayas. That is not balam. That is actually a complex. So to use even anger, I'm not saying you should never throw tantrums. Sometimes you may have to throw tantrums. Sometimes there are strategies. But as long as you know what you are doing, you have visualized it very well. Pujya Swami Chinmayanandi, we used to throw some tantrums in the early days. Once in Mysore, he went with great enthusiasm. And the committee there had not arranged anything. He said, where is the hall? Where is my lecture going to be? Swamiji, we will something we'll do, don't worry. He was a very angry man generally. He was so angry. And in Mysore, there is one Chamundi Hill. That's what I heard. This was much before I even heard his name. I believe he told somebody who was with him, take me to Chamundi Hill. There he knew some guest house. He just stayed there and sent word to this committee. By tomorrow evening it starts. I am coming for checking everything by 4 o'clock. Evening 6 is the election. By 4 o'clock, these are the things that have to be ready. Otherwise, I don't see you, you don't see my face. That's very strong language. And they all got shaken. He did that, such things even towards the end. Sometimes people wondered whether he was, he was having this short temper in wrong place. No, no, no. Those who worked closely to with him, they knew that he was actually pretending. Once he shouted at people who went to receive him in airport because his wheelchair was not ready. This was almost a year before he passed away. He shouted at them, and then they all were trembling. Then they ran and brought the wheelchair because he was not able to walk last 2 years of his life. Then all natak. Next minute he smiled and said, don't think I need any comfort. It's not for me. But I don't want members of my committee to be so slack. So he put it that way, which is true. He was also a leader who was training them to be so slack, to be so indifferent, to be so forgetful. Not for me, but you as organizer should be prompt. He gave it like smilingly, laughingly, and so on. Anyway, this person, Bodha bhavati, Karta bhavati, Vijnata bhavati. See, Vijnata connects to the previous Khanda. Previous Khanda talked about Vijnana. And the mantra here is powerfully, effectively saying, Vijnana will not be possible unless you have Balam. Then rest of it is both poetry as well as some solid teaching. Balena vai prathivi tishtati. If the earth stands or is in its orbit in a proper way, that's because earth has certain balam in it. Balena antariksham, interspace. Balena dyauhu, heavens. Balena parvataha tishtanti. Balena deva manushya, balena pashavascha, vayansi cha. Vayansi is birds. Trina vanaspataya, grass and various kinds of herbs and plants. Shwapadani, dogs and others. Akita, patanga, pipilikam, insects and various kinds of butterflies or ants. And in other words, a wide range of animals and plants. Balena lokaha tishtati. Whole world is doing well, wherever it's doing well, because it has some balam. Chāndogya Upanishad has Nayamatma Balahīnena Labhyaha. So whether it is Adhyatma Vidya or Laukika Vidya, anywhere and everywhere. Balam. In the paradigm of modern psychology, Balam includes emotional intelligence. I have already explained. Balam is the certain strength which rises and which makes you do right thing at the right time, and that requires emotional intelligence. When to yell and how much to yell and when to stop and how much to, then compensate in other ways. If somebody knows how to get angry, but next moment, like Chinmayananji always did, moment he is also able to speak lovingly to the group, and he goes very high. I was witness once in Mulund, probably this was 92 or so, 1992. He shouted at one photographer, a cultural program was going on. We were all in the front row. He said to him in a slightly vulgar language, get away from here. Nobody wants to see your buttocks. He said. That photographer ran away because we were watching the children playing something. I had seen only that. And I mentioned it in one lecture. One Kaushik Rindani was there. He was also there those days. He came to me and said to me, Swamiji, you are right. I was also there, but you perhaps don't know what happened later. I said, what happened? After the show, Swamiji called that photographer and patted him and very lovingly said to him, don't get hurt because I yelled at you, but you need to be a bit careful. And some gestures of, love and care. And that photographer felt so touched. This internationally famous Swamiji, half an hour ago, had shouted, but now picking him from maybe hundreds, if not thousands, were around in the Kalidas auditorium of Mulund, Mumbai. I was not there that time. This I came to know from Kaushik Vindani. That the same Swamiji made up. All that requires balam. Therefore, balena lokas tishtati. If in my mission, in his time and later on also, has gathered such great momentum, it's the balam, not just scriptural knowledge, but a certain extraordinary inner strength of the founder, and to a certain extent by others, that has made organization stand and grow. Lokaha can mean organization. Balam upasva. Now we go to the next yeah, next slide, which is the last slide. And even as the last slide shows up on the screen, I will read one or two lines from Shankara Bhashya. In the last section, Vijnanam came. Vijnanam was explained as Shastrartha Vishayam Jnanam. It's the knowledge of what scriptures actually mean. And that Artha Jnanam of Shastra was shown, Yasya Artha Jnanam Dhyana Karanam. Then you could meditate. Meditating was the sixth factor. Vijnanam was the seventh factor. And today, or this morning, for some of you, it is Balam. And Balam is very simple. Adi Shankara says, Balam vava vijnana goyaha. What is Balam? Balam iti anna upayoga janitam. When you eat well, and I will add to it, when you live rightly. Go for a morning walk, don't miss your yoga, don't miss your pranayama, don't miss a couple of health rules. If you are taking 2 cups of tea, have 1 cup of green tea. If possible, stop all this coffee and tea. So food habits, sleeping habits, exercise habits, right? So when you do all that, anna upayoga janitam manasaha vijneye pratibhana samarthyam. What a wonderful, clear, simple definition Bhashya gives. Right understanding of scriptures. That makes possible meditation. But in order to get right understanding of scriptures, you need to have certain inner strength, physical, mental, everything. Of course, not all can have best health, but you should not consciously jeopardize your own health. If all you can do, you must do. In spite of it, yeah, we do agree. Sometimes some disease comes to people, we don't know how. Just 4 months ago, I too joined a bunch of people in Bangalore celebrating how somebody very close to us had completely got cured from breast cancer. But yesterday I came to know that time it was level 2, stage 2 cancer from which he completely got cured. That was said. But now it has come back and it's already on stage 4. And we don't know why cancer or now again COVID scare is filling the air. So that's a different issue. But have we been doing, even if till yesterday we lived irresponsibly, forget it. Can we live responsibly now? Then we get a certain bala. Then manasaha samarthyam. Our mind then, Shankara doesn't say balam is the ability to lift weights. See, balam is pratibhana. Pratibhana is understanding. Prabha means to shine and to become known. Something becomes known only if our mind is receptive and strong and healthy enough. Manasaha pratibhana samartyam vidneya vastuni. And Shankara very appropriately refers to the 6th chapter, which we had covered. In the 6th chapter, the sun, Shvetaketu, doesn't eat for a number of days. And then he is not able to think of Veda, doesn't remember the mantras. He stands blank. Right? So Shankara quotes it in 6th chapter, 7th Khanda, second mantra. Shvetaketu says to Uddalaka, because of that fasting, he is unable to have the bala, strength, and therefore unable to remember. Navai mam or Navai mam pratibhanti bho. Pratibha again here means shining, becoming known. So to end the reference, that bala leads to ability to shake 100 scholars who may not have the bala. You have less scholarship, but you have the balam, and so on. Now we go to the next and the last slide, which is a praise. Sayo balam brahma iti upaste. In between there was English translation that I have explained. Yavad balasya gatam tatra asya yatha kamacharo bhavati. Sayo balam brahmetyupaste, and third line again, Sayo balam brahmetyupaste. In the Sanskrit Moola, it has come twice. So if anyone among you wonders why in the English translation it has come twice, he who meditates on strength as Brahman, he who meditates on strength as Brahman, twice. Because in the original also, for some reason, the Rishi, Sanat-kumāra, says twice. Though in the original it is first and third line. Sayo balam brahma eti upaste, yavad balasya gatam. Swami Vivekananda's balam did not find itself limited to the shores of India. It was not between Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. Yavad balasya gatam. It reached the USA, it reached England. I don't know which other countries he went. Perhaps he went to Japan also. So many places. And in India too, south and north and east and west. The man who lived only 39 years, because he had that balam, he not only understood scriptures, Vijnanam, he not only did dhyanam, he also had the ability to influence the whole world. With this, balam has been praised. Believe in strength. Go for strength. All sorts of shlokas connect here. Sri Krishna saying in the chapter 6, Uddhared atmana atmanam na atmanam avasadayet. Don't allow yourself to get weaker and weaker in any way. Keep yourself fit. Keep yourself strong. Right? So that is balam. And therefore it is said that whoever is balavan, he shines. Then Nārada asks as before, Asti Bhagavo Balad Bhuyaha iti. And Sanat-kumāra says, yes, there is so much more within us which needs to be recognized, nurtured, nourished. Then we blossom. Balad Vava Bhuyaha Asti Tanme Bhagavan Bravitu. Revered Sir, may please let me know that. May the venerable. Oh, there's a slight print mistake. May the venerable Sir tell me that. So in that case, comma is not required. Okay. May the venerable Sir tell me that. This is a very standard way of saying. So Nārada basically requests Sanat-kumāra to throw light on what more. And the next one is Annam. So in the 9th section of the 7th chapter, we will take a look at Annam. Right food. I would not say food. Right food. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo. Namah Paramarashibhyaha.